Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the American P-38E sitting at 3.0 battle rating. The first Lightning, the start of the Lightnings. The Lightnings are fantastic aircraft. They look brilliant, one of my favorite designs in War Thunder. Very exotic, don't you think? It's awesome, this plane. Centralized firepower, 2 engines, lots of horsepower. A little bit bigger plane, a little bit easier to hit, but there is survivability in this plane with the 2 engines. You have centralized 4 50 cals with a 20mm. You have a little bit of armor protection for the pilot, and it feels quite survivable, even though it's a little bit of a bigger target, and it is a lot of fun as an energy fighter. It's an Interceptor. She starts with an air start that is aligned to that Interceptor role. And she has decent climb rate as well. So overall this is a very fun plane that you really need to experience. It's a little bit of a learning curve because it's not the easiest plane to fly, but she will do fantastic for you if you invest that time. And who wouldn't want to invest some time in this iconic World War II plane, right? Right. Well, before we begin, make sure to like the video. If you do enjoy it anywhere along the line, make sure to leave me a comment, and if you are not subscribed yet, please do. It really helps the channel out. Also, join me on my other channels on Locals and on Rumble. Locals is where you can find exclusive content on other subjects and where I will share everything that is not War Thunder related. You can also financially support me there if you would want to do that. Okay, so let's get into the review. The maximum speed in this P-38 at sea level without WEP is 498 kilometers an hour, and with WEP 528. At 4,500 meters she'll go up to 455 without WEP and 486 with. And finally, at 6,500 meters you can take her to 425 without WEP and 450 with. Now you see the WEP stays functional from sea level to high-end stuff up in the clouds. That is fantastic. It gives you a little bit of extra boost through your loops, and just to finish things off a little bit quicker or to catch up to an enemy. At a 3.0 battle rating, this plane has quite sufficient speed. It might not be the fastest plane out there, but she's definitely not slow, so I would say she's quite fast. Where she's not fast though is in a dive. She redlines at 751 kilometers an hour, and she can rip anywhere from 700 kilometers an hour upward. But Jengar, that is above the red line, or below the red line. I would say yes, it is indeed 700, while the red line lies at 751. This plane is very vulnerable in very steep dives. If you put the nose straight down and you just let her speed up, she will rip at around 700. Sometimes it's 690, sometimes it's 710, but always around 700. So this plane just doesn't do well in steep dives. You got to keep your dives shallow or short, and just watch your speeds and keep it around 650 before you pull out. You'll be fine when you do that. But yeah, you can't just dive with this thing. It's not gonna help you out much. These speeds, by the way, are in indicated airspeed without mech. The control stiffening in this plane starts at 450 in the aileron compression. 600 is the second tick. The elevator stays rather functional, although there is a slight bit of elevator compression at 700 plus speeds, but it is not much, and you will still be able to pull out of your dive. That's not a problem. The stall speed in this plane is 110 kilometers an hour, which is actually quite good for such a big plane. She feels quite decent in the vertical. Firepower is great. You have one 20mm AN-M2 cannon with 150 rounds for the gun, and then you have 4 12.7mm M2 Browning machine guns with 500 rounds per gun. This is an insane amount of ammo for 50 cals. I was not exaggerating when I said that the firepower on this plane is fantastic. It is also prolonged firepower. The 20mm will of course run out first, but 500 rounds for 50 cals at 3.0 battle rating is an insane amount of ammo. The average ammo load at 2.0, 3.0 battle rating is about 200 to 250, and so 500 is insane. And it's great because it gives this plane longevity on the battlefield. Basically you can take 20 minutes of fuel, fuel. These days it is not much use anymore to take 30 minutes of fuel, as the matches only lasts for 25 minutes. Please Gaijin, change that. Side note. But yeah, that ammo load is fantastic and it can take you through the whole fight. Now there is no bombs and no rockets on this plane, so you really are down to this this ammunition. It's a pure fighter. Ground pounding is not available really for this plane. So ammo loads, excellent. The acceleration in this plane in a straight line is good. In a dive it's very good, although you have to be aware that at the lower ends of the dive, because of the drag, this plane will start to slow down when it comes to acceleration. But again, this plane is capable of ripping already at 700 kilometers an hour. Energy retention in the horizontal is great, in the vertical it's very good. When you come out of a dive, you put the plane in a straight line with Webb. This plane has great energy retention indeed. She holds that speed for quite a bit of time, and in the verticals it feels also very good. It's just purely due to the engine power. You have two engines, and this just is not twice the weight of most of the other fighters that you will have around you. That will have a little bit horsepower extra compared to the one engine, but not compared to the two engines. There's very few planes with the amount of horsepower that this plane has at this battle rating. Now the climb rate in this plane is decent, and you do get that air start, so you are high up already, usually between 1500 and 2000 kilometers, which is 2000 kilometers, bloody hell, 1100 or 2000 meters, of course, yes. 2000 kilometers would be funny, right? Anyway, turn time is below average, average with flaps. The flaps rip off at around 620 kilometers an hour, which is fantastic. It is not anywhere near the maximum speeds in a straight line for this plane, so you run very little risk to really rip them off. 700 is not anywhere you want to be near because of the ripping danger in a straight line down. When you put the nose down, you can rip those wings. You don't want that, so those flaps are fantastic. The rip speed on that, you can use them to your heart's content usually. The roll rate in this plane is average. Maneuverability overall as well, just average. It's not the best turn fighter out there, and that's not how you want to use her. Overheating in this plane is definitely present with Webb, but manageable. She cools off quite quickly, so it's not too bad of a problem. The plane is quite durable. You have quite a bit of armor protection for the pilot. You have two engines. She can take quite a bit of damage and feels quite survivable for the pilot. And you can take her home quite often actually with damage. One engine is not great, but if you have one damaged engine and the other one is not completely dead, usually you get home. And if you're not too far away from the base, you can even fly a little bit on the one engine. I've not tried on one engine from the other side of the map, by the way, so I cannot tell you whether that will work every time, but if you have a little bit of altitude and you have one engine, you will usually make it home. If you're not, let's say, over half of the map, then you'll be fine. The repair cost in this plane is 3,182 silver lions, which is actually quite expensive compared to the rest. It's not the highest. I've seen a few higher, but it's definitely on the high end. It's definitely not even close to average. So it's an expensive plane to fly, but the results that this plane can net you will definitely help you out with your decision making. Doesn't really matter because usually she makes money. Now the rewards in this plane, you have a 248% multiplier on the RP gain and a 195% on the Silver Lion. Now the research point modifier is average and the Silver Lion modifier is high. So it's a great earner for Silver Lions, and the research points don't lag behind in this plane, so that's okay. That's okay. And for Silver Lion, as a Silver Lion earner, I can think of not much better except for premium planes with some premium time, of course. That is, premium time for most people is the best investment in War Thunder anyway. But if you want a Silver Lion earner and you look at the results that this plane has, I'm far above my average in this plane, and it is just fantastic. It just fits my style. I like energy fighting and slash boom and zooming short runs. I can easily adapt to a style like that. I don't need the highest top speed in a dive. I can easily pull out of a dive earlier, have the discipline for that, and I really like the style. Energy fighting, this plane is fantastic, and you usually start with an altitude advantage as well. If the map is not too great, most of the exceptional climbers cannot catch up to you due to your air start, and that is a fantastic advantage to have as a pilot, whether you're a beginner or an experienced pilot. Once you have that energy advantage and you don't have to really fight for it, you usually have it. That's a big advantage to have, and you have it in this plane. She is just brilliant at that. And you know, the Lightnings, 2 engines, and the higher you get in the Lightnings, the more powerful they become. Some of them are exceptional climbers. This one is not exceptional. It is, as I said, in climb rate decent, but there is planes at this battle rating that are good, excellent, fantastic, you know, and this is not that, but with the air start I think she comes pretty close to excellent, and that is fantastic. And of course, this plane, you need to energy fight, boom and zoom, be careful, don't get into a dogfight. Usually you don't win, except maybe with a pilot that is not that experienced. But it's a big plane, she rolls a little bit less good than most fighters at this battle rating. She turns a little bit less good than most fighters, so they will probably outmaneuver you usually. And you just have to know that and use it careful, and in shallow dives, and you'll be fine in this plane. Steep dives are dangerous, but for the rest, this plane has few downsides that are really, like you say, like, well, I don't want to fly this plane because of this or that. No, the Lightning doesn't really have that. Now, that was the 5 kill match. We got 6 kills there because we killed 1 AI plane. We have Final Blow, Survivor, and Terror of the Sky, 44,000 Silver Lions and 6,400 research points. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now the Lightnings, as I said, one of my favorite types of aircraft, even this early one with the least amount of horsepower in the engines, the least amount of climbing power, is a plane that is very enjoyable to fly. She's an Interceptor, she starts in the air, your climb rate is decent, you're usually up there with the highest planes, and you can boom and zoom energy fight your way down, and it's a very enjoyable experience. Lots of firepower, 2 engines, lots of protection for the pilot, and a fantastic looking aircraft. What more do you want? The rewards are good for the Silver Lions. Repair cost is quite high, but I would say this plane is definitely capable of surviving and bringing you home and getting you lots of Silver Lion gains. It's just a fantastic plane. I love this plane. Fly it out, enjoy the P-38s, they are fantastic. The Lightning love is real. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.